were never able to see stars from the lunar surface or on the daylight side of the moon by eye without looking through the optics.
Ever wondered who the first people on the moon were? You've likely guessed Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, the iconic astronauts from the Apollo 11 mission. But did you know of another astronaut who's lesser known because of his unique role? He's now stepping forward to share some eerie secrets about the Apollo 11 moon mission. Who is this astronaut? And what chilling events transpired on their journey to the moon's far side? Stay tuned for the intriguing revelations ahead. In the annals of history, Commander Neil Armstrong's voice resonated as he stepped onto the lunar surface, accompanied by astronaut Buzz Aldrin. Yet in the background stood astronaut Michael Collins, frequently overshadowed but vital. Collins, the third member of Apollo 11, manned the moon's orbit from the vital command module, quietly yet significantly impacting the mission's success. In 1962, the United States initiated the Apollo program with an ambitious purpose. This was to achieve the national goal set by President John F. Kennedy on May 25, 1961. A bold ambition to land humans on the moon and ensure their safe return to Earth. The Apollo program, managed by the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, comprised a sequence of carefully crafted stages, including suborbital and orbital flights, complex docking procedures, lunar orbiting and landing simulations, and fascinating extravehicular activities. The crowning achievement of the Apollo program was the monumental Apollo 11 mission, launched on July 16, 1969. This took off from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida, USA, and the spacecraft consisted of three main components. First, the Saturn V Rocket, a mammoth vessel, produced the necessary thrust to send the Apollo spacecraft past Earth's atmosphere into space. Second, the command module, CM, named Columbia, functioned as the living space, control hub, and re-entry vessel for astronauts Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins. Collins helmed the command module, which dutifully maintained its lunar orbit. Lastly, the Lunar Module, LM, dubbed Eagle, was built to detach from the command module, transporting Armstrong and Aldrin to the moon's surface, while Collins stayed solo within the command module, Columbia. On the historic day of July 20th, 1969, the Eagle delicately landed on the moon, seizing the gaze of millions globally. Neil Armstrong became the first person to walk on the moon, a lasting legacy trailed by Buzz Aldrin. Over roughly 2.5 hours, they conducted experiments, gathered specimens, and recorded their journey in photos. This marked a legendary page in human history. After approximately 21 hours on the moon, the lunar module soared back to the command module. The astronauts then set course for Earth, with the command module re-entering our atmosphere and safely touching down in the Pacific Ocean on July 24, 1969. The victorious Apollo 11 mission epitomized a significant leap in human space exploration. It displayed our ability to explore beyond Earth, earning widespread admiration and awe globally. The astronauts' names became emblematic of human creativity, determination, and the enduring spirit of discovery. This spirit drives us toward novel frontiers and unexplored realms. Let's now focus on the remarkable Michael Collins, a man of numerous honors. His career spans roles as a pilot, test pilot, astronaut, and general. Born in 1930 in Rome, Italy, Collins came from a military family, his father being a U.S. Army officer serving as a military attaché. This background had him traveling the world, navigating transitions across diverse countries. He attended St. Albans School in Washington, D.C., where his love for aviation and astronomy flourished. After graduating from the U.S. Military Academy at West Point in 1952, Collins joined the Air Force. He became a fighter pilot and engaged in Korean War missions. Transitioning to test piloting, Collins trained at the Air Force Test Pilot School at Edwards Air Force Base in California. Here, he tested various aircraft, from jets to bombers, establishing his aviation expertise. In 1963, Collins's life took a significant turn when NASA selected him for their third astronaut group, alongside his future Apollo 11 colleague, Buzz Aldrin. His intensive training spanned the Gemini and Apollo programs, focused on crewed orbital flights and the pivotal moon landing. Collins made his first space journey in 1966 as the pilot for Gemini 10, partnering with John Young. This mission showcased intricate rendezvous maneuvers, accompanied by 2 spacewalks masterfully executed by Collins. His career trajectory changed when he was designated the backup command module pilot for Apollo 8. However, due to a surgery to address a bone spur in his spine, his journey momentarily halted, necessitating a recovery period. This turn of events redefined his path, leading him to Apollo 11, the historic mission symbolizing the first lunar landing. In this mission, Collins served as the command module pilot. His colleagues, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, embarked on their iconic lunar descent. Given Collins's often behind-the-scenes contributions, what precisely was his role in the Apollo 11 mission? As the command module pilot, CMP, for Apollo 11, he shouldered significant responsibilities, including the management and upkeep of the command module Columbia, which acted as the mothership for the lunar lander. While Armstrong and Aldrin embarked on their groundbreaking lunar journey, Collins circled in lunar orbit, piloting the command module. Although his role was less publicized, its critical nature and complexity cannot be overstated. Collins was in charge of the undocking procedure, the moment when the lunar module, bearing Armstrong and Aldrin, separated from the command module Columbia. A misstep at this juncture could jeopardize the crew's safety and the mission's outcome. With the lunar module en route to the moon's surface, Collins found solitude in Columbia. Contrary to the perceived loneliness, his tasks were far from passive. He had vast duties, such as monitoring systems, maintaining communication with mission control, and gearing up for the eventual rendezvous and docking with the lunar module post its lunar departure. In essence, the rendezvous and docking phase was among the most technically challenging segments of the entire Apollo 11 mission. Collins was tasked with devising and implementing a series of elaborate maneuvers, a procedure fraught with potential complications. Any miscalculations risked leaving Armstrong and Aldrin orbiting the moon, unable to reattach to the command module. Collins also had the vital job of ensuring the command module's operational health during the lunar module's venture. As the sole vessel for the return journey to Earth, the command module's functionality was crucial. Collins routinely checked its systems, ensuring peak life support, communication, and thrust. Beyond the technical, his role encompassed observational tasks. Orbiting the moon in Columbia, Collins captured details of its terrain, providing precious data for scientific understanding. Amid these technical duties lay an often overlooked component: the psychological weight he bore. He functioned as the mission's anchor, bridging Earth and the lunar pioneers. If calamity struck on the lunar surface, the onus would be on him to return solo. Despite this pressure, Collins exhibited unparalleled grace, epitomizing the right stuff characteristic of his astronaut peers. With poise and focus, he kept an ongoing communication line with mission control, meticulously executing his responsibilities. His careful execution was integral to the success of the lunar landing. Collins's dedication persisted past the rendezvous, aiding the trans-Earth injection, TEI, an essential maneuver to exit lunar orbit and set course for Earth. Collins's precision and expertise proved invaluable during this phase, underlining his vital contributions. While many recount Michael Collins's solitary time in Columbia, what was this experience truly like? And how did it shape his insights about humanity's role in the vast universe? As Armstrong and Aldrin descended toward the lunar surface in the lunar module, Collins continued his trajectory in the command module, navigating a lunar orbit. He spent over 21 hours in this orbit, with around 48 minutes of each cycle in radio silence on the moon's dark side. This period is often dubbed the loneliest man in history. For Collins, however, it was more a serene solitude than profound isolation. One might wonder why Collins underwent this 48-minute radio silence during each orbit. Primarily, the moon's mass blocked radio transmissions. Radio waves, electromagnetic radiation capable of space travel, can be absorbed or obstructed by solid entities like planets and moons, making this region's communication uniquely challenging. This aspect highlights the trials of venturing to this remote lunar side. To clarify, several elements compound the challenges of exploring the moon's far side. However, 3 primary reasons prevail. Firstly, the direct communication link with Earth is non-existent. Radio waves, essential for relaying data and instructions between spacecraft and Earth bases, cannot breach the Moon's dense core. Thus, any equipment or vehicle on the far side loses communication with Earth for approximately half its orbit, or about 48 minutes, a phenomenon Collins experienced firsthand. This demands a relay satellite for communication, increasing operational complexities and expenses. Additionally, any rover on this side must function autonomously, devoid of direct human control. The second factor concerns the rugged landscape and demanding environment of the far side. With a denser crust, elevated terrains, larger craters, and reduced volcanic activity compared to the near side, the far side also has fewer maria, those dark, lava-coated plains common on the near side. Though the reasons for these differences remain somewhat mysterious, they might relate to the Moon's ancient history and intrinsic asymmetry. Moreover, the far side experiences drastic temperature shifts, ranging from roughly -173 degrees Celsius, -279 degrees Fahrenheit, at night, to about 127 degrees Celsius, 261 degrees Fahrenheit, during the day. Such variations create challenges for navigating, landing, and ensuring the survival of spacecraft and rovers in this lunar sector. The third aspect highlights our limited knowledge and data about the far side. In 1959, the Soviet Luna 3 probe's grainy images gave the first glimpses of this hidden area. Since then, few missions like NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, China's Chang'e 4, and India's Chandrayaan-2 have either orbited or landed on the far side. Contrasted with the thoroughly mapped and studied near side, including 6 Apollo landings, the far side is largely unexplored and mysterious. However, despite these hurdles, researchers remain dedicated to examining the far side, recognizing its unique benefits. One primary advantage is the potential to uncover clues about the Moon's origins, evolution, inner structure, and composition, a domain rich with untapped stories awaiting discovery. Returning our attention to Collins, let's explore a distinct element of his journey before revealing a chilling secret he shared. As Collins orbited the Moon's dark side, he entered a region devoid of Earth-based transmitters and receivers. This left him without communication to mission control or Earth. This situation was exclusive to Collins, making him the first individual to journey solo to the Moon's far side. Contrastingly, when Apollo 8 orbited the far side in 1968, the entire crew was in one spacecraft. It's also worth noting that Apollo 11's lunar module, Eagle, landed on the Moon's visible side, maintaining constant radio contact with Earth. Yet Collins had to patiently await his emergence from behind the Moon to reconnect with his team and Earth. This is because the far side is not just radio silent, but also radio quiet. This means it's devoid of radio frequency interference, RFI, originating from Earth-based activities like TV, radio broadcasts, and other communication signals. This unique feature renders it an ideal spot for radio astronomy, as it can detect faint solar signals or those from even further away, which usually get overshadowed by Earth's RFI. But for Collins, this wasn't a time of loneliness. Amid this seclusion, he reveled in the vistas of Earth and the Moon, indulging in diligent work, all the while preserving his wit and wonder. Describing his feelings, Collins expressed not loneliness but solace in the quiet, sensing hope, satisfaction, certainty, and even joy. This peacefulness provided a break from the usual mission frenzy. From his orbit, Collins beheld a sight granted to few, the lunar far side's rugged, crater-marred expanse, hidden from Earth's observation. Emerging from the Moon's shadow, the sight of Earth rising above the lunar horizon, known as Earthrise, was awe-inspiring. This view, juxtaposing our delicate planet against the vastness of space, left an everlasting mark on him. Such a perspective, termed the overview effect, profoundly altered Collins's worldview, inducing a deep reflection on Earth's place in the universe. These reflections led him to profound philosophical musings about the universe and humanity's position within it. The journey reinforced his conviction of a purposeful, ordered universe, ushering in a spiritual outlook. For Collins, the title of loneliest man wasn't burdensome. It was an honor, broadening his worldviews and influencing his principles towards environmental conservation. After leaving NASA, With President Nixon's approval, he assumed leadership of the National Air and Space Museum, advocating for Earth preservation and emphasizing humanity's duty towards our home planet. Collins's lunar sojourn stands as a testament to his bravery and tenacity. His unwavering dedication amidst profound responsibility and peril speaks volumes about his character. However, during his solitary hours, Collins harbored a chilling fear, the terrifying possibility that Armstrong and Aldrin might not return from the lunar surface. While people worldwide celebrated the lunar landing's success, Collins was already grappling with the next monumental task ahead: the departure of the lunar module from the moon's surface. As the rendezvous with the command module began, the success of the mission and the lives of Armstrong and Aldrin hung precariously on the lunar module's ascent engine. Distinctively, there was no backup for this engine within the Apollo 11's critical systems. It had to function perfectly. Otherwise, Armstrong and Aldrin risked being marooned on the moon, a fate offering no rescue. Collins had shared his fears with a close circle before the mission, terming it his secret terror. With diligence, he studied the rendezvous procedures, analyzing systems and mentally preparing for unforeseen complications. This overwhelming concern weighed heavily on Collins. He knew that if disaster struck, he would face a lone journey back to Earth. Amidst the team spirit and collective efforts, he would emerge as the sole survivor. The mental burden of such an outcome was immense. He would be haunted by the memory of his colleagues, their dreams of lunar exploration turning into an eternal lunar confinement. Compounding this dread was the knowledge that he'd be tasked with revealing this devastating failure to the world. Meeting Armstrong's and Aldrin's families, delivering the heart-wrenching news, and then announcing it to the global audience who had supported these brave astronauts would all fall on him. Yet instead of being overwhelmed by this enormous fear, Collins used it as motivation. He approached his responsibilities with precision, commitment, and determination, ensuring the mission's success. Far from debilitating him, his fear served as an impetus. He was acutely aware of the risks, grasped the stakes, and valued the trust placed in him by his peers and nation. Even with his internal struggle, Collins displayed unwavering professionalism and determination, evident in his actions, meticulous strategy, and preparedness. While grappling with his fears, he radiated confidence and calm, providing solace to the team, mission control, and fellow astronauts. As history would have it, the dreaded event did not occur. The lunar module's ascent engine executed its task flawlessly, ensuring the safe return of Armstrong and Aldrin and their seamless reunion with Collins in the command module. Consequently, the Apollo 11 mission was heralded as a resounding victory. Yet the shadow of Collins's hidden fears adds depth to this iconic moment. This unspoken anxiety reflects the human side of space ventures, emphasizing the unseen emotional and psychological challenges astronauts face. Michael Collins's secret terror is undeniably intertwined with his Apollo 11 journey. While Michael Collins circled the moon alone during Apollo 11, his solitude on its far side provided him an unparalleled perspective. A 48-minute radio silence in each orbit highlighted the difficulties of communication in this untapped territory. Collins cherished the peace, drawing comfort from the sight of Earth, fragile amidst the vast cosmos. His deepest concealed fear was the potential failure of Armstrong and Aldrin to return from the moon. This anxiety informed his rigorous preparations and steadiness, exposing the intricate emotional battles astronauts undergo outside public view, and spotlighting their unwavering commitment to the colossal endeavor of space exploration. Thank you for watching. Don't skip the video appearing on your screen now. It's truly captivating.